We get it. You're busy. You want to grow, and we want to help. You're passionate about your craft because it deeply matters to you. Your faith is important. It's your foundation. At Stay Forth, we coach leaders to avoid burnout, live and lead with clarity, purpose, and from a place of health. We want you to experience long-term impact. Welcome to the journey. I want to share about something that I've become a big fan of. Now, I love me some coffee, but I hate depending on caffeine. And at times, I've used coffee to keep me going and just kind of keep me alive for the day. And I don't like that feeling. And as we've talked about here on the podcast, I was really tired heading into this fall after a really challenging season. And I just knew that I needed to make some changes to my life and to my routine. So I limited my caffeine to 1 cup of coffee a day. I took Fridays off and I began taking this little thing called Magic Mind every day. So basically, instead of a second cup of coffee, I took this little guy. Now, I was skeptical, of course. I've heard of nootropics, I've heard of matcha, but how can it beat caffeine? Honestly, the focus it brought me was pretty incredible. So without the crash, I was getting that focus, and sometimes I was even lasting beyond what I used to have for my afternoon nap, which feels a little bit crazy to me. I'm a big fan now of Magic Mind, but especially when I'm not dragging through the late afternoon right when I go home to pick up my kids. That's what I'm talking about. I step back into dad mode. I have energy for the rest of the day. So I'm a fan of this little Magic Mind shot. You can get a month of Magic Mind free with the link and the code in the show notes. Would love for you to test it out. Hey friends, welcome back. It's me, Alan, and my main man, Jonathan. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about, we're going to get real. We're going to get real, and I think we might apologize for something, but we're going to be talking about the Right Side Up Journal.
Yes, we have an apology and an announcement today for you, and we're going to cut to the chase first, and then we'll kind of go back and share some context. Our new version 3 of our Right Side Up Journal launches today. So if you're catching this episode on Thursday, it launches today, and it is on Amazon. And get it through our website, linking over there. And guys, we are thrilled about that, and that is what we're going to let out of the bag today. So that's the big announcement, and we owe you an apology, and we're going to talk about that here in the process. But before we get started, we just want to say to you guys, thank you. Thank you for being patient with us. We did not think that this process would take so long. And what we want to do here is actually be really honest with you during this time in the podcast. Sometimes we're honest like 5 years later and we're like, oh, that season was really hard. And we tried to pull it off and we tried to look like everything is great. Guys, business is really hard. It's really hard to meet people's demands. It's really hard to have an idea and to deliver on that. And so we let ourselves down, whether we let you down or not. And so I just want to start with that apology, is that we had hoped to get this bad boy out to you Small Business Saturday as you approach the new year, then by the first of the year as you had your goals and everything. And so especially to those who have been going without the Right Side Up Journal for this really crucial first quarter and first month of the year, we just say we're sorry. We got it to you as soon as we could. We weren't willing to rush it along and miss excellence along the way. And frankly, we just misestimated how complex that it's going to be. So we're not just going to go all rah and share all about it. We are going to share kind of why it snuck up on us. Why was it so complex? And I think it's a good learning opportunity. It's been humbling for us because sometimes doing something the first time is really hard. And we're doing this a different way than we have in the past. So that's really our apology. We just want to start with that so that we can get into the fun stuff and really announce it to you guys. But we also want to be real with you. You lead organizations, businesses, teams, and things don't always go off like we talk about them. And so the cultural prophet and philosopher Mike Tyson once said, everybody's got a plan until you get punched in the face. And so we had a great plan, and we got punched in the face a little bit. So we're super excited, but we also kind of got beat up in the process.
Yeah, it reminds us of a true saying. I remember when I was still in the 9 to 5 world, and was doing project management, it's the first 90% that seems to run as smooth as it can. It's the final 10% where you can win or lose on that final 10%. I mean, and it's true. Not saying we lost anything, but it was that often what you don't account for, that comes up as unplanned, and things that can come out of nowhere, left hook, so to speak, that can really punch you in the gut. And then it's in those moments how you respond to it, and how you move beyond it.
Journal 1.0 version 1 was good. 2.0 version 2 was even better. And so we've had, I think it's a good way to put it, we've had 90% of this ready for you. We've had the file, we've had the design, all those kind of things. It was the last 10% that really beat us up. So we kind of come to you in the midst of that. Both of those emotions can be true. And a phrase that I've been saying a lot is that people are starving for hope, but they're done with hype. And so we just want to be the opposite of an organization that just hypes it up. We're in our effective leader cohort right now. And we've taken the value up, I think, to the next level, not just visually and aesthetically, and a portal that people can kind of hang out in, get to know each other, look at tools, the videos. We've been working really hard to raise the bar on that. And so we don't just want to have hype to say, hop into this next thing, do this next thing. But we really believe that we've created a great product, that hundreds of you have already spoken on that for the first 2 versions. And frankly, it's just time to get it out to more of the world. And we'll talk a little bit about that. So maybe before we talk about the now and the launch, we're going to go back and get some context. So this is about 5 years in the making. And so actually about 6 years, I guess, 6 years ago, we started talking about a journal. And I started to see this pain point where coaching clients were moving forward 5 steps in our 90 minutes together. I was so excited for them. Check in a couple weeks later for our next session, they had moved backward 2 steps. And so they'd still made ground, but I knew that instead of just the inspiration of coaching, the tools of coaching, they were going to need something with them every single day, every single week. I don't know about you, but I can lose focus real quick. And the right side of journal was really our response to that pain point. And we said, what if we could put some tools in there? What if we could have some goal planning in there? What if I could send it to every single coaching client? What if we could ask the same questions each day, and we chose Thursday? What if we could have a left brain setup that allows you the structure of the day, and a right brain setup where you could sketch and dream a little bit? And honestly, I kind of created the journal that I needed and that I didn't see anywhere. So we call it strategic journaling. It isn't just a wide open journal. I was talking to a creative leader the other day. She's wildly gifted, but said, I can't just open a blank journal. Like, I need some structure and some strategy along the way. And so that process was, Jonathan, about a year, right? About 11 months where we were working that and creating that first prototype.
It was about a full year from finalizing concept to launching on Small Business Saturday. And we put a lot of thought into it. I mean, it was we strategically created a strategic planning journal.
Yeah. I mean, we ate our own dog food, as it were. We walked through the process ourselves. Remember, we had a little 2-week booklet.
I was thinking about that. Yeah, I found one of those the other day. We had them printed and sent out, just 2 weeks that we could work through, and we sent them out we did like little focus groups. You were giving coaching clients them and say, hey, would you mind trying this? And so it really and truly came out of an idea that we had. And then when we test marketed it to small groups of people and got feedback, and we changed it, and what came out of it was not just what we hoped would be true, what we felt, but it was actually a need that was met.
Yeah, absolutely. And the beautiful design work on the outside and throughout is done by a great friend of Stay Forth, our designer, Darren Short. So we also just want to give you a hand, Darren. You're amazing to work with, visually, aesthetically beautiful, clear, simple. And so it takes a team to launch anything good. And so Kendall McKee, you remember being part of that process down the line. And so we've just built on that every single step of the way. So really, this isn't a new journal. It'll be new to Amazon. It may be new to you if you're listening, if you're watching this on YouTube, but it's actually been used by us for a long time. And it turns out you get something out to the market, and the market will tell on you when you have some areas of confusion or issues. And there were a couple things that we've kind of tweaked along the way. And so really why we made a couple of these changes. We were printing this locally in Colorado. We were sending this out as a team, and it just began to get pretty complex. And so what we needed to do was to simplify. And so we resisted going over to Amazon for a while. We love local business, but it just got very cost prohibitive. It got very challenging to be able to do that. The more we would send out, the more orders that would come in. And so we actually decided to be able to move that over to Amazon. We could control a lot of the IP around that. We can make changes on the fly. We also just wanted it to get out to more people. So there is just going to be something easier about you, especially if you have a Prime membership. Go there, order it quickly, get it quickly. Sometimes people would say, can you please give me that journal in a rushed fashion? And we did that when we possibly could. But it's going to be the same journal that you're used to, and we're going to talk about some upgrades in the process. And so I think that actually leads us to the process of saying, why was this so complex? i.e., why did we miss these deadlines that we were thinking about? So Jonathan, why don't you start with, what was the complexity of turning version 2 into version 3?
Well, we wanted to, I think we really strive with everything we do. We bridge the gap between content and community. And, there's an overabundance of content on the internet. Our Right Side Up Journal is a different way to approach journaling, but we've connected it to, someone gives you content and then there's, what do I do with it? And so this is really, we've taken something that was already a guide, and it's like, so what can we do to make it even better? And so we've added a lot of technology into this hard copy where that was a new process. Suddenly we had a bunch of other things to create, and then a way for people to easily access when we know that people are busy, they're rushed, they have priorities, they have demands. So we didn't want to just add something to slow you down. If we're moving to a process that we hope to be simple, effective, and efficient, then we want what's inside of the journal to be the same way. There was also moving from a local printer and a local print shop to print on demand without sacrificing quality. So we had to make sure that, the quality and the excellence factor that goes into this is still going to be true on the other side of it. And we knew we were going to have to make some changes and compromise in some areas. And that also took time. And then a lot of the technology on the underside of formatting a book.
Yep.
And not using a traditional printer.
Yeah, we had not done QR codes before. Inside of this, we had not done some of the tutorial videos, and we realized people were asking the same questions, the same 7 or 8 questions. What do you do here, and how do you fill out this goal planning tool? And what we realized is that there were a couple of things that were actually counterintuitive. Like, I think about our goal planning page early in the process, and I'd say, start with this and then work backwards. And people would say, well, why don't we have it the other way around? And so we actually just flipped it around. So if you wonder whether we're listening for your feedback, we are. And so you guys don't come in angry. You guys don't come in too hot. When you guys say, hey, why are you doing it this way? Or could you do it another way? We're always listening and taking that. That's why we have another version of this. We didn't think we were going to nail it first. We did the best we could. Then we upped the game. And now I feel like we upped the game in several ways. So the QR codes, tools. I see what tools are working in coaching sessions. And really the question that's fueled me has been, what would it take to create the best deal in leadership development? And that is a massive question. That's a big deal. But in asking that question, I thought we're going to have to pack this with tools that we could charge the price of one journal just for that tool. What if we had some tutorial videos alongside of that so you didn't have to reach out and ask us? What if this could link to a page on the website where all the tools were there and available that were inside of that? Then you could order your next one from right there. Like, what if this were a self-contained guide for your leadership development? Every Monday, we have a different topic for the week, and sometimes it's a tool, sometimes it's a question, sometimes it's a quote, and then we have you journal and reflect. And so each week, we've sort of curated a lot of your learning. I guarantee when you get to the end of the quarter, you're going to need to reassess that again. So you can go through this multiple times, as I have with the last journal, and the questions actually vary to me because I'm in a different spot personally. So I just feel like that question has guided me. And when in doubt, we put it in there. When in doubt, let's add more value. So I feel like we have given away, as it were, a lot of our coaching secrets in here. And so that if you wanted to quote unquote hack the coaching process, here's the best way to do it, friends. Go through this bad boy, keep going through this bad boy. And we put in so many of our little questions, thoughts, tools, secrets. Thursdays are for self-awareness, for example. Just a chance to reevaluate how you actually do it. Some Thursdays, I'm tired and I wonder if I've done anything good that week. And I go through that and I actually realize I'm doing pretty well. I've just got a couple areas that I need to be aware of. So that's really guided me along the process. Any other thoughts, Jonathan, from you did the technical work. What else kind of tripped you up or slowed you down in the process?
It was the belief in the product and the belief in seeing so many people want the journal, and going back to the 90%, we had 90% of it there. It was hey, we're going to update the internal content and we're going to move to this platform. Sweet. I'm a technology guy. I love technology. I can figure things out. I learn things. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I love taking technology and use it in a meaningful way. And so for me, I overshot the runway big time there. And then it was being so passionate about what we were going to deliver and knowing that people were emailing and people were somehow had saved links to a sales page that was no longer active, but still able to purchase, decent quantities of
journals. Buying a journal no longer existed. And
we were running low on. And then my internal angst and anxiety and frustrations were building, and it wasn't not wanting to admit defeat. It was really realizing, okay, let's communicate and ask for help because this thing does matter. It matters to me. And there's no fault in saying, hey, we might need to adjust and pivot, and just trying to stay ahead of it. And that was the biggest challenge for me, and probably the biggest learning experience for me.
Yeah. I mean, I feel I was disappointed in us because I felt like we let you guys down. There are people who have been in the best way addicted to this journal, as am I, where I get to the end of it, grab another one, and you guys got to the end of it and we didn't have any left. I mean, literally, I'm down to my last one at home on this launch day. So, I mean, it has gotten us just to this. And so we appreciate your patience. If somehow in the process you switched over to another journal, we're really sad and we would love to get you back. And so again, I know it's only a month and really 2 months from initially when we talked about this, but we promised you this and we didn't meet the deadline. And so we understand that you may have had a gap in that. And we just want to say thanks. I got an email today that said, hey, we want 10 of these. Where do I go to get them? And so you'll be able to go to rightsideupjournal.com. That'll take us straight over there to Amazon. We are going to get you some more tutorials. So we're going to keep adding to this page to get you more resources as we get more questions. And so again, we've got a couple of the upgrades here, our videos along the way. Welcome videos. Here's how to understand this tool kind of video. And we see it as instead of like, hey, where do I find the pasta? It's on aisle 14. I'm going to go take you to aisle 14 and say, here's the pasta, as opposed to just head on over there. And that's kind of what we were doing accidentally before. Just go figure it out.
Yeah, now we've taken, advice is great, but sometimes you need someone to guide you. Instead of someone saying, hey, go over there to aisle 4, there's some noodles. And say, okay, hey, let me go show you. I can take you there a lot quicker. That's what we've done with this journal. And I would say that's one of the things I'm the most proud of, and why, if you remember when we were getting close to the initial deadline, we almost thought about releasing a digital bare bones PDF just to get people that were like, hey, I really want this. But we made probably the hardest, smartest decision that I would say I'm proud of is just to say, no, we're going to own it. We hate letting people down. We don't want to overpromise and underdeliver, and we don't want to keep missing deadlines. We're committed to this. We know it's going to be great. We know it's going to be, that much better. Let's just see it through. And I would say I'm very proud of that.
Yeah, absolutely. Hold the deadline and holding the excellence line. Something had to give between deadline and excellence. Again, the next thing are tools. We've added more tools. Some of these you haven't seen before. If you're a coaching client of mine and of Stay Forth, you've probably seen these. The next one are some tweaks. Again, we changed a little bit of how we did things to make it a little bit more intuitive down the line. And Jonathan, talk to them about, we have 3 different ways that they can grab this journal, 2 paper, 1 digital. What are the differences there?
All right. So the paper journal, you've seen us flash it on camera. If you're listening to this, now is your cue to go over to YouTube and watch this because you're going to see. And we've got a new upgraded paperback version that inside, you've heard us talk about QR codes. There's different quotes. We reformatted pages, added a bit more space. There's a bit more space to write based on the gutter and the frame size. The paperback version, we also will have available will be another paper version called the Adventure Edition that's hardback. We know that so many of you guys love the custom leather sleeves and they are, hard to come by. And so we're going to have this beautifully designed Right Side Up Journal 3rd edition and the Adventure Edition, which is going to be hardback. And probably the one that I'm most excited about is a digital version that would be, I'm just riffing here, the Executive or the Traveler's Edition, where you have your Remarkable, your Kindle, or your iPad, and you can put it on there, you can write on it, and instead of QR codes, you're going to have links. You can click the link to go to any tool. You can click, there'll be special links in there to take to different places, and so it will grow with you. And so every time you buy a paper journal or the digital journal, all of those codes will be updated with videos, and you'll always have access to new stuff.
It's pretty cool. Again, we've listened to your feedback. I personally love pulling out paper each day in the analog, but a bunch of you have said, hey, what about for the Remarkable? We tested that process out. Hey, what about for the iPad? And we've got this for you. And the cool thing, again, once you download it, you've got it. The other ones, obviously, you keep reordering them. And we've got a spot for you to reorder. If you forget, toward the back, boom. You've got a couple days on Prime and it'll be back to you. So we're excited. Again, we've changed so much about it. I don't think we realized how much we were changing. And so because we made all these changes at the same time, we're like, oh man, that was a lot. So let me leave you with just 2 pieces of action that we want to invite you to directly. Buy this journal. We have packed this with so much value, and I do believe this is the best deal in leadership development right there. I don't know where else you can get coaching tools inside of something like this, where you can get every single day instruction to be able to grow in your leadership, that 3 months later, if you're investing 10 minutes a day and 30 minutes a week, that adds up to 100 minutes a week. If you're investing 100 minutes in your own leadership, you're just going to grow. You're just going to be proactive. You're going to avoid certain habits and you're going to push into certain habits. And so I could not be a bigger fan of this because I use it every single day. And again, I created it for people like me who are leading multiple things. We're doing a lot. Guys, order this. If you are married, I dare you to go through this with your spouse. If you're on a team, I love when teams use this together, whether it's 3 people on your team or 13. Buy a bundle, have the team use it. And let me just say this, if you buy 15 or more of these, I will come in on a Zoom call and explain the why behind it, the what. So any of those bulk orders, just shoot us an email at hello@stayforth.com and get 15 or more. I'll come in, explain, answer questions with your team, just so you can kind of get them over the hump with that. I would love to be able to do that. And last of all, if you have been a big fan of this and used this before, would you write us a review on Amazon? It looks like this is a new thing on Amazon, and it kind of is, but it absolutely isn't, because you know the power of this thing that's been used before. Jonathan, what are some other ways people can kind of get this message out and share about our sweet, sweet 3rd edition?
Share this podcast episode. If journaling is not something for you and you're on the fence, try it. Share it with somebody else. If you know someone who loves journaling, I had someone the other day that was just talking about this and, hey, you've been working on something. I was like, oh, I'm working on editing this 3rd edition of this new journal that's coming out. And they were like, wait a minute, what? And I just sent them a little short video, that the one that I sent to you, and they saw it and they were like, I've never heard of this, but I would 1000% use it. You have to tell me as soon as it comes out. So just it's just simple as sharing someone and grabbing the link from the show notes below and send it to 5 people that you believe in, that you might think would be interested, and you'll help them. You'll help them transform their leadership.
Absolutely. Yeah, guys, we are small business. We love small business. This works for business leaders. This works for ministry leaders. This works for nonprofit leaders. This works for soccer dads and soccer moms. If you have influence in your life and you have a lot of things going on, which I would guess is almost all of us, our brains are not meant to hold that. And we can't afford to live reactive. So we're getting lived by our lives. We've all had seasons, I certainly have, where we're just like getting dragged along by our calendar. Friends, that's not a good place. If you are living and leading overwhelmed, We get it. And you can't stay there. You can't stay there. Guys, we love one-on-one coaching. It's powerful. Every single day, every single week, I get to watch it transform lives. But we understand that it is a big investment of time and energy and money. And we just believe that everybody here can handle the cost of this resource. Everybody here can handle 10 minutes a day and 30 minutes a week. I did this last night. As I look back over my week, I did this morning, and I'm ready to crack open this journal. And in fact, I cannot wait to get my adventure edition of this in just a few days. So we are for you. We love you. Again, we apologize and we say thank you for hanging in there. And we announce officially that the 3rd edition of our Right Side Up Journal is ready. We want you to share. We want you to order. We want you to leave a review. Thanks so much, guys. Thanks for who you are. Thanks for how you lead. And thanks so much for helping us shape what we believe is the best tool in leadership development right there. We love you guys. We'll catch you here on the next episode.